Hej Papa. Er du godt? Jeg ringer egentlig bare, fordi jeg har noget, jeg gerne vil fortælle dig. Jeg har tænkt mig fri til Caro.
Hey guys, and welcome back to another vlog. So if you've been following me on TikTok, you might have seen my proposal video that I posted last summer, but you also might have caught a little teaser of our save the dates on IG I shared the other day. But if you're totally new here, Jonas and I, we got engaged over a year ago. Yeah, last summer. And now the wedding planning begins. So as we dive into all things wedding prep, we thought, why not take you guys with us? Is it called that?
Yeah, take you with us
to where it all started. So today we'll be sharing the story of how our relationship started, the proposal, and then we've actually also been keeping a secret for a year now. I have invited Jonas to join me for this vlog as he plays a crucial role in this. So before we share how the proposal went, I think it's pretty simple to start off with how we met. So do you wanna
Yeah, I can take this part. We initially met at our study program back in 2019, but it wasn't until Caroline became single in that course that we actually started talking to each other. And I started flirting with you by sending you dog memes.
I remember I was so confused. I thought it was flirting and I was asking my friends like, is this flirting or is Jonas just being very friendly with me? But I was definitely also interested in you, and when we did start talking, eventually like led to something more. I tried to invite you through the lines, and it wasn't until I forced you on a date that we actually started dating.
But in reality, I was just extremely busy. I invited Caroline to my favorite Italian place, and we spent, I think, almost 5 hours there. We started dinner really early, around 6 o'clock. We didn't even leave until like 11 in the evening.
I was at least very excited to finally get the date because I had been kind of pushing. And then afterwards we went to a cocktail bar, but I was hosting my own birthday party the next morning. So I was like inviting family over to host a birthday brunch. And then I looked at the clock and it was 2 in the morning. So I was like, I need to go home. But the date went great.
When we first started dating, we didn't live together. Caroline lived in Istanbul, which is the other side of town from Christianstown where I live. But eventually I really wanted us to move in together, though maybe it was a little bit premature.
Yeah.
Already after 3 months, I asked, do you want to move in with me? You were pretty clear about letting me know we needed to get to know each other before we could move in together.
Yeah, it was really important for me that we took our time and got to know each other as a couple and also enjoyed time separately, but you weren't really agreeing.
I think it actually took about a year and a half before we started moving in together. That was around the time where we both finished our study program. Living together once we finally moved in was a whole new chapter. There's always this big shift between two people when you start living together full time. And to be honest, it was a bit challenging in the beginning, but I think that's pretty normal.
Definitely.
You kind of have to get used to the little habits, the little quirks. When we moved in together, I used to be the kind of person who stayed up super late, playing video games or working until like 3 in the morning before I'd get into bed. Then I'd wake up super late. You, on the other hand, were the opposite of me. You used to go to bed super early.
I love my mornings.
Figuring out like how to coordinate our schedules so we weren't living next to each other, but just together in sync was super important.
Yeah, and definitely also a learning curve. But also we had to work out different things like who would handle what around the house, but it was actually really easy for us because I like to cook and you like to clean.
4 years later, we still do the same setup. I'm responsible for all the cleaning and you take care of the cooking, the groceries, laundry, sometimes 50-50.
Also laundry, but it's because I have so much sensitive clothes that I want to handle. It's definitely a system that worked for us. You need a clean space to relax, while I'm a little bit more relaxed in whatever our space looks like. But once we figured that out, it was more so like also enjoying time together as a couple. The first trip was to Ærø, which is this hidden gem in Denmark, and that's pretty much it because the proposal also happened at Ærø.
I'd been planning to propose to Caroline for about a year and a half, and I started by asking, I don't remember if it was my sister first or my dad, what they thought about me proposing. They were super happy, just super supportive and positive about it. I'm not sure why I was nervous about that part. But yeah, I started saving up money, a little bit of time because I wanted to give her a diamond ring, obviously, and it needed to relate to us and match you. Our first vacation was to my parents' summer house in Caro, and I think the first time we were there, she just fell absolutely madly in love with the place.
Yeah.
So I knew that was the perfect place to do it.
Yeah, I think it's one of my favorite places on earth, but it's because it has this really calm vibe. It's where like one day takes the other, and I don't stress about just being, if that makes sense. And then also your parents have super tasteful interior style, so they've decorated the summer house really cozy but also cool, so it's really nice to spend time there, and we do try to go every summer.
Because I knew what Caro means to you, it just felt like the perfect location for me to propose, and we were already going that summer, so it kind of made sense. We were going to spend 2 weeks there. So once I had the ring, things moved really fast. I think it was only about 2 weeks from when I got it to when I actually proposed to you. The ring was custom made, and I loosely had a plan about how I wanted to do it, but I also wanted to keep it flexible so I could adapt in the moment if things changed. But right before the trip, it was super important to me, and I think it would have been important to you as well, for me to ask your father for permission, and that turned into be a complete rush. What happened was, on the day that we were set to leave for Caro, I arranged so her father could meet me at my office because we were bringing his dog with us over our holiday.
Yeah, we do that sometimes.
And the tricky part was that I also told Caroline to meet me at the office so we could leave straight for the ferry. By the time he arrived, because he was a little bit late, I only had 5 minutes to ask for her hand in marriage. He started crying, which was really touching, obviously, but she was about to arrive at any moment, so I had to tell him to stop. Don't cry, don't cry. Yeah, it was just funny. You know, she was right around the corner, but you didn't notice anything.
I had no idea, but I also think I was just so focused on saying hi to Louis, and you were just talking about my little brother, I think, when I arrived.
Changing conversations.
Yeah. Oh yeah, but Jonas, you need to tell them about what I told you earlier on the day of the proposal.
The thing I remember really clearly is, well, how nervous I was, yet somehow Caroline didn't notice at all. During the day of the proposal, we were earlier in the afternoon tanning in the garden, and then out of nowhere, you turned to me. She says the following: Jonas, I'm sure I want to be with you for the rest of my life. And I don't know what the chances are of her saying that specific sentence that day, but I'm telling you, right before proposing, that felt like the perfect validation.
Yeah. Did you think that I had like an idea of you proposing?
Honestly, no, but when you said that, I was like, wait, what's going on?
Because I had no idea. I just felt like saying that because it was such a like, not perfect moment, but like, is this life? Is this what life is gonna be? But I really had no idea that you were going to propose.
I wanted to keep it simple and true to us as a couple. I also knew that I wanted to capture the specific moment on camera without you suspecting anything. And in the months leading up, I asked Caroline to start helping me post on Instagram and on TikTok, so it wouldn't be weird on the day if I asked her to get me content in the moment. But on Caro, we had visited this one specific beach before, and on this beach you can watch the sunset over the sea. We have admittedly, the first time we visited, taken some pretty grim sunset photos there. So I just planned to take her back for a picnic / barbecue, but then convince her that we were just there to recreate that one moment, but then was that I had something entirely different planned. So now you're all cut up, and this is the rest of the proposal.
Så vill jag om du ikke vil gifte dig med mig.
Jo. Mener du det? Ej. What the fuck? Oh my fucking god. Oh my god, skud. Ej, hvor er det sindssygt, jo. Fuck. Ej, hvor er det sindssygt. Ej, hvor er det crazy.
I also want to preface that it's actually a lot harder to react in the moment that you really think. First off, what was running through my mind, I thought that I wasn't old enough to get proposed to. And then also I was swearing so much. I wasn't like mindful or demure or anything in that video, but it was very sweet and I'm so happy to have it on camera.
Funny part is when you're actually ready to propose, all the things you had planned to say, they completely flew out of my head. A week before the proposal, I'd been in Switzerland and I asked my friend Philip, who had just recently proposed to his now wife. He told me it doesn't matter what you prepare. When the moment comes, you just forget everything and you just say what actually matters. He couldn't have been more right. I mumbled through the entire thing and I didn't say a single one of the lines, but I somehow still managed to ask the question. And that brief moment between asking and Caroline saying yes, to me, it felt like an eternity, at least in my head. So on the video, it was more like 3 seconds. Super nerve-wracking, yet super amazing. Afterwards, we felt like we were falling in love all over again. We called our families, we called our friends. We just spent the next few days in like this, I don't know how to describe it, but like some blissful love high.
Yeah, well that kind of leads to our secret, because the day after the proposal, I don't know why, but I had this feeling I just wanted to get married. So I told you what I was feeling, and you kind of felt the same. 2 days after, we sat down and we applied to get married immediately through the governmental website. It's called Borger.dk. Super non-sexy. It was quite tough actually to find a place to get married with such a short notice, but we were set on making it happen as soon as possible. So yeah. Jonas and I were actually married. We decided to get married 1 year ago today on September 30th, 2023. And that was the best day ever. We planned our wedding in 5 weeks. We wanted it to be very personal to us, but also kind of in an untraditional way. It was a little bit tough to find a place that could marry us in such a short notice. We wanted to get it done sooner, but September 30th was the earliest date that we could get. So we got married at Frederiksberg Town Hall. Yeah. And I got so stressed because we somehow missed that there was a flea market on the Town Hall Square. And I have friends that attend flea markets. I was just crossing my fingers that we wouldn't meet any of our friends when we got married, because that would be such an awkward way for them to find out that we got married. On the morning of the wedding, I headed over to my sister's place to get ready while you stayed home with your parents to get ready for the day. And by noon, we all met up at Frederiksberg Town Hall, where we had invited 25 of our closest family members to watch us get married.
I think what you wore was perfect. It could have been more you.
And I started crying when I saw you for the first time.
Yeah.
Even though we kind of kept it untraditional in many ways, at least that part, I wanted to be traditional, like a secret. I wore a short dress. I think that was fun for a untraditional wedding. I had thrifted a pair of designer heels, and then I wore my mother's heel. And we took a lot of photos, but we didn't hire a professional photographer, so we just asked our family members who were with us on the day to snap photos throughout the day.
So then we headed inside, where we had to wait for another couple. That's what you do here in Denmark. And you wait for them to finish up before you get your turn to go inside. And inside is where you then meet with the mayor, who then officiates you and officiates the ceremony.
And it only took 5 minutes.
Yeah.
It was so weird.
It's very weird how quick it is.
Yeah.
But after the ceremony, we walked out of the room full of joy, obviously, and we were greeted with champagne and all of our family members. And then we actually had a little surprise planned or lined up on the day. We decided not to get traditional wedding rings yet, and instead we went to visit a tattoo parlor to symbolize our unity. It's definitely more permanent than a ring. And after that, we headed back to our place where we had like a small reception where everyone could enjoy cakes, snacks, and speeches, and we opened presents. The speeches were incredible.
Yeah, so touching.
But for me, definitely one of the ones that stood out was your mom's speech to me.
Yeah,
that was really
so
sweet.
Cute.
Yeah, and your little brother Will, he was the Toastmaster. He did an amazing job. He seemed a little bit nervous at first. I think anybody would be, but he pulled it off wonderfully. And by the end of the night, you could just see on him how exhausted he was from just being mentally present the whole day, but he nailed it.
Yeah, he was so good. After the reception at our home, we went to a dinner venue we had reserved, which is a small restaurant here in Christianshavn called Færgecaféen, and it's a tiny ferry floating in the canals of Christianshavn, which was perfect for the group of 25. We had rented their saloon, which is like the bottom of the boat, and it was super cozy with like candles, or it weren't actually candles, it were fake candles because of like fire
hazard. We had to use fake candles.
But we got some disposable cameras that people were snapping photos, and the meal, or like the food, was delicious. It was Danish classics, and the night was just filled with more heartful speeches. I think there were 14 speeches.
Yeah, was that total?
Yeah, which was super, super intimate. It was a perfect day.
I just have to say, I wouldn't have had a speech less though.
No.
It was the perfect amount of speeches.
Yeah, but there are a lot of speeches compared to ratio of people.
Yeah, definitely. Almost everyone.
Yeah, almost everyone. But it was a intimate and small ceremony, and we wouldn't have it any other way. We'll remember it for the rest of our lives.
For sure.
Yeah, my dad, he has made sure to point out multiple times that he think it was such a perfect day because it was so intimate and untraditional, but just very us.
We read our vows to each other during the evening as our own speeches, kind of, which was definitely, I think, the most emotional part of the whole day and evening. We both cried a lot.
Yeah.
But it was also, you know, beautiful because of all the speeches from our loved ones. And I think a special shout out here has to go out to my sister's speech for being very funny. I think everyone mentioned how funny it was afterwards.
Yeah, it was really, really good.
It felt almost a little bit like a roast, but it was our wedding.
Yeah, but it was pointed towards students. Even though we are married, we still want to throw a huge, I hope, a huge wedding party for our friends and closest family. However, the financial burden of hosting a party for 80 to 100 people is something that we need to save up for, hence we waited.
So that's why we opted for just a small, intimate gathering with just our friends. Our plan was to keep it just between us and... What?
Sorry.
Our plan was to keep it just between us and our families, so that when eventually we revealed the news to our friends, the excitement of the whole engagement would still feel fresh and it wouldn't seem like we'd already been married for a long time.
Yeah, but in hindsight, keeping it a secret turned out to be much more of a challenge that we expected, at least for our family members, not for us actually, not for us.
We didn't have a problem.
No, there were moments when family members accidentally told others and then the word started to spread.
Well, my best friend found out through my dad. We're not upset about it.
No.
Instead, we decided to just, you know, since people were already kind of finding out, that we'd just slowly start telling people over time before our anniversary.
Today is our 1-year wedding anniversary, which is really exciting. It feels amazing to finally be able to call you my husband.
Thank you, and you, my wife.
And I think that pretty much wraps up our secret. I hope that this was a happy secret and pleasant surprise for all of you. And as always, don't forget to like, comment and subscribe. There's going to be a lot of wedding content and wedding planning videos coming up. So if you're as excited as I am for the next big celebration, make sure to follow along. And also feel free to leave a comment if there's anything you would like me to share. I definitely would love to take you guys dress shopping with me. That would be fun. But yeah, bye!
Jeg er sygt nervøs for, at folk synes, jeg er sygt akavet på kamera.
Nej, det gik godt, skat.
Er du sikker?
Ja. Ja. Vi må se. Ellers kan det være, du bliver roasted.
Ja.
Eller mig.